going to talk about English, but more particularly Englishes. I'm a New Zealander, so I speak a variety of English that's probably different from the variety you get in your textbooks, which are probably British English or American English. Those, if you like, are the old Englishes. But there are many new Englishes that are used all over the world. I'm thinking of Jamaican English, Nigerian English, Indian English, Pakistani English, Singapore English, and so on. There are in fact more people who speak these new Englishes, if you like, than there are who speak the old Englishes, American English, British English, and so on. So the greater proportion of the world's users of English are people living in countries like the ones that I just mentioned, where English has become part of the local linguistic scene. Now, how did it get that way? How did it get there? Well, these countries were typically under colonial administration, and they were also multilingual countries. And so when the colonial administrators left, they left in place an educational system that functioned through English. And English served as a useful link language between people with different language backgrounds. And so it became, if you like, a kind of neutral language that enabled people with several different language backgrounds to communicate with one another. And so it took root and has remained in many parts of the world as the language of administration, of education, of the media, alongside important local languages as well. And in the process, of course, it's become localized, or the term that's sometimes used is indigenized. In other words, it's taken on local characteristics, local flavor, a local accent. It may be influenced by some of the vocabulary, some of the grammar, some of the pronunciation features of the languages that are spoken in the countries where it's used. And that's what we mean by new Englishes. And so your students will probably have a good opportunity to hear people using these languages, using these varieties of English, I should say. They will have a chance to listen, at least, or to try to understand people using many different kinds of English, not simply British or American English or traditional forms of English that we've tended to produce in our textbooks. You'll find many examples of these kinds of English on the internet. If you just Google a country and you'll, like Singapore, for example, Google Singapore English, and you'll be interested to find out how many examples come up from sitcoms, from television, and so on, of people using these new varieties of English. So English is very much alive and well in different parts of the world and taking different forms based on the context in which it's used, and creating a great diversity and variety of kinds of English that your students may find they need to be able to listen to and understand in today's world.